As we all know, when it comes to video games, you're only often as good as the weapon you wield. And yet sometimes the digital armories of our favourite titles don't just give you said XL whacking stick, but actually add in so much spice that you'll be toilet bound for a week given how much of a peppery bumhole they make you. So with this in mind, I'm the swinging balls of WC Jules Gill. This is indeed WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 video game weapons you're a dick for using. Number 10. Blue Shell Mario Kart. So, on the back of the box for pretty much every iteration of Mario Kart, there's some text that basically promises the title will be fun for the whole family. But the sad reality is, though, that this is simply not true, all in part thanks to this item/weapon, the Blue Shell, which if you see hurtling towards you will make you want to write home to your mother and cry in a corner. It'll likely be thrown out by your younger sibling who just sits in an unremarkable last place, but who's having a great old time ruining your race. And in 2014's Mario Kart 8, we did get a way to fight back against the Blue Shell, but the Super Horn is a pretty rare item to grab as is, and you'll have to carry it around like a gaudy trophy and then get into first place for it to become useful. And that's not going to stop the other 3 red shells your dad has just launched at you because he's a bad sport who knows his time in the sun has come to an end. Yeah, I see you, Steve. Yeah, the kingdom is mine, pal. In short, Blue Shell, you're a dick. Number 9. Intervention. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. The 6th entry into the esteemed Call of Duty franchise offered a smorgasbord of weaponry for players to sink their teeth into. The Spaz 12 shotgun is a piece of art, and the ACR... that's just sublime. But in amongst all of these dream weapons was an absolute screamer in the form of the Intervention. And why was it so bad? Well, because the sniper rifle ended up being used by players as a close combat one-shot kill spam, completely inverting the intended use of the weapon. Now, arguably, you didn't even need to be good to get the most out of this gun when a simple tap of the aim and then fire was enough to rein in its accuracy enough to kill anything in your face. This quickly became the gun of choice for griefers who saw the inherent annoyance it could cause, and the fact that it continued on for so long was a bugbear for many online players, leading many to either learn the same tactics to level the playing field or rage quit out. Either way, if you use this item, then I think that you need a real intervention to have your friends and family gather around to tell you to stop being a dick. Number 8. The Smart Pistol, Titanfall. Now, in modern first-person shooters, pistols are often reduced to a, last resort kind of affair, and only a very slim few end up being as powerful as their bigger brothers. Well, that all changed in Titanfall with the introduction of the Smart Pistol. Now, at first glance, this doesn't seem to be anything special, just a standard military pistol with a touch of the futuristic to its appearance. However, once you're behind the wheel, you'll realise that this isn't your everyday stock car. No, my friend, this is an absolute banger of a different variety, as if the enemy is within close range, the weapon will automatically lock onto the head or chest. That's right, the gun aims for you, meaning that you've just got to pull the trigger and laugh your way to the blood bank. Even if you try to use the game's verticality to run from your locked-on fate, you'll struggle to shake every single shot from your backside, meaning that while some of you could argue that it's not as simple as just pointing and clicking, it is a damn sight more dickish to use this gun than any other loadout, especially if you claim that you're brilliant at the game for using it. Number 7. Splat Roller, Splatoon. So if you've never played Splatoon, and side note, why not? Instead of defeating your enemies by racking up kills, here the path to victory is more about zone control, as the winners are the team who covers the map with their ink the most. And while there are loads of different weapons to use, for ease of access and for ease of pissing off other players, the Splat Roller is the professional dick's choice. Splatoon's use of motion controls to aim always means that splattering a foe is an immensely rewarding experience, as it's almost a double act to read their moves and actually, move yourself. But the Splat Roller mitigates how much accuracy you actually need, and you'll be steamrolling over most opponents without breaking an inky sweat. It's all legal, of course, and if this is your weapon of choice, then more power to you, but at the end of the day, it's so annoying to be drowned in a wave of paint from this. Number 6. Hammer. Smash Bros. While the most hardcore of Smash players will insist that items are an annoyance and must be switched off at all costs, it's easy to see that the random drops make for a more frantic experience for the casual player. I mean, Pokeballs can summon a pocket monster to fight alongside you, the home run bat lets players swing for the fences, and the banana gun, well, it blasts a single powerful shot before becoming a banana peel for the player to slip on. And then there's one item, which is just so incredibly annoying that anyone who voluntarily takes advantage of it will be labelled a dick from here to kingdom come, and that is the hammer. Once collected, the player will be turned into a whacking machine of death, and anyone caught in their way will be smashed into the ground like a tent peg. Obviously, there are ways around this, but if you see someone drop their offense to scramble for this item just to chase that easy KO, then you know deep down, well, they're a bit of a dick. But then again, we've all totally done this, haven't we? Number 5. Ancient Arrows. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild does an immaculate job at attempting to make every encounter a tense one, and the weapon degradation always makes you ask the question of whether to engage or whether to back off. However, things take a turn when you start getting access to the ancient items, which basically make your trek through Hyrule into a cakewalk, especially the ancient arrows, which provide a critical hit on anything other than mechanical. This comes at the game's detriment, however, as they provide the player with a cheap way of getting out of any encounter with just a single ancient arrow, because it will pretty much blast any non-guardian out of existence. And even the guardians, if you hit them in the eye. Sure, they won't be dropping any items or weapons by using this, but what do you care when you can carve through foes like a soggy Christmas ham? It allows you to be a dick in a different manner, because rather than previous entries on this list, it's not about being sneaky or annoying, it's just dispatching with such disdain for enemies that it makes you look like quite the prized prick. Number 4. The Energy Sword. Halo. While Halo is often cited as the starting point for contemporary first-person shooters, it's the melee weapon, the Energy Sword, that is perhaps its most iconic. And when you're first introduced to the Energy Sword, it's on the receiving end of a stabbing from one of the elites. Here you get to see its true power as it acts as a tin opener to Master Chief's green armor, and you're instilled with this kind of desire to wield this weapon in a similar manner. So when you find out that you can do just so in the multiplayer, of course you're going to be a dick with it. I mean, you've been taught by the game that this is the best practice. This weapon will cut foes and friendships in two, and while there is indeed a skill required to use it, being diced and then teabagged online was pretty much the calling card of the Halo dick. Number 3. The Land Shark Gun. Armed and Dangerous. If you've never played Armed and Dangerous, then you are missing out on a gloriously wacky third-person shooter, rife with comedy and chaos at every turn. And what made this game so memorable was its bizarre assortment of guns and other weapons. You could rip open your own personal black hole and drag enemies screaming into the void, or turn off gravity and let them float up into the sky before slamming them back down to the ground. But there's one gun that manages to both defy all logic, but also make you look like an utter prick, and that is the Land Shark Gun. This weapon literally lets you fire a shark through the ground to then emerge under an enemy like Jaws and bite them in two. It's brutal. Hilarious, yes, but utterly brutal. And if you take the humour out of this, it's a really cruel manoeuvre. I mean, you're literally denying your enemy a quick or honourable death and instead are choosing to fire a living creature at them with the sole purpose of reenacting a film scene. I mean, surely that level of evil has to count as you being a dick in some form, right? However, again, still very funny. Number 2. Golden Gun, GoldenEye. Ever since its debut in the 1965 novel The Man with the Golden Gun and obviously the stellar 1974 film, the Golden Gun has become a fan favourite amongst Bond faithfuls, and therefore it was no surprise when the titular gun made an appearance on the N64's revolutionary shooter, GoldenEye. Now at the time, this game was the hot hit, with so many sleepovers and parties revolving around the multiplayer suite that this game offered, and yet, in amongst the cries of joy and laughter, there was something, well, pretty stinky growing, and it wasn't just the smell of unwashed teenage boys, although this is a note to younger me. Seriously, man, go and shower more. That you didn't smell good, and you didn't look good. And yeah, you had hair, but you didn't wear it right either. Basically, you're lucky to have turned into me, you freak. No, instead it was to do with the golden gun. Sorry about that tangent there. A one-shot kill that would turn even the worst player into an utter powerhouse. And unless it was turned off, everyone would race to grab this prized pistol, rewarding those that knew the map better than others. And this, as you might expect, led to much pointing and outrage and, of course, claims of that person being a dick. And number 1, the Penetrator, Saints Row the Third. So the Saints Row series has never been one to shy away from the perverse. That is very clear, and this can be no better expressed than just by watching any footage of a player using the Penetrator, a meter-long sex toy attached to the handle of a baseball bat, which you are a total dick for using. I mean, come on, you're literally beating someone to death with a deadly dong. How can you not be a dick by doing this? Especially when you consider all of the other weapons on offer, meaning that you had to make a conscious choice to be this much of a cock. It's a short entry, but then again, you're just a dick for using it. What more is there to say?